Let's start the call. I'm sure other people will hop on. So one professional win and one personal win for the week.
Um, Professional win, I've got social media posts, like planned out social media posts through the rest of the week. Um,
Nice.
so not just random like, ooh, this could be a good idea to post,
Yeah.
um, kind of stuff. So that's good. And then personal, I ran 5 miles with negative splits today.
What are negative split?
So, so that means that my second mile was faster than my first mile, and my third mile was faster than my second mile, and so on.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's really awesome.
So it's always a goal.
Yeah. Did I know like you had like your foot was hurt and you had I can't remember exactly what was going on. But I know you were in a brace for a while. Are you all healed up now?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Um, awesome. Okay, and then so we have your scorecard. And
Hmm.
so you planned your social media for the week.
Hmm.
How has the 30 minutes, so the 30 minutes, 5 days a week for social media, did you do all 5 days?
Yeah. No, and I'm finding I don't need 30 minutes 5 days a week to do
Okay.
what I need to do. So I think I need to change my goal to just have a not a blog post. Uh a blog post every day of the week is a lot.
Yeah.
Um uh just a social media post 4 to 7 days a week.
Okay.
Um
We can
And
make
I'll
that.
post more than that because I'll find random stuff and post it, but like stuff that's thought out and planned out.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Okay. So then your next goal was 30 minutes, 5 days a week of writing. How has that gone?
That has gone well. I had a little extra time this week because of the hurricane,
Yeah.
so that part has gone well.
Did you have anyone take you up on your offer for hot coffee?
No.
I didn't either. I posted something like that too. I think almost everybody has their power has been restored at this point.
Yeah.
And then your last goal was speaking events. So how has that research gone?
Um, I haven't spent 30 minutes a day doing that. I did look into it a little bit. I have a list of places that I want to reach out to. And I'm realizing that I need to come up with a query letter,
Okay.
in order to make my time more efficient. So my next thing for that is going to be researching query letters and composing something.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that all sounds good. I mean, I think even if you're not writing or reaching out to the four events that you could speak at, but you're preparing and doing that work towards it, I still think that's really awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mercedes, welcome to your very first business growth bootcamp coaching call.
Hey.
So you came on a night that I may step out early. I was just telling Bethany, I am a little under the weather.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, but I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to check in. And so what Bethany and I were just going over for her is last week. I posted the YouTube video in our group today. So you can review that. I thought I had already posted that. So my apologies there.
Okay.
Um, but so what we did last week is we first shared one personal win and professional win. And then when you go through, and you already did your scorecard. And so your scorecard is going to look like reviewing your statements and goals to make sure that you're implementing them daily, cold email or DM 5 potential clients or check on the proposals, quotes that you've sent out and post on social media accounts to gain more traction.
Yep.
So before I dive into that, what is one professional win this week and one personal win this week?
Professionally, I got like 5 inquiries, which like 2 weeks ago I was high anxiety because I lost a big client. So it was definitely a huge win to like get all these inquiries all of a sudden out of nowhere. So that was
Yeah.
awesome. Personal win. Um,
It could be as simple
I've
as
been
had a yummy lunch today. It doesn't have to be anything huge.
I guess just prioritizing my time. I've been really good at like prioritizing my time well lately with personal and professional stuff.
That's awesome. So the time blocking section for you was totally like worth it and spot on.
Yes, that helped tremendously. I never knew how to time block. I never even like, I don't know, it's weird because I'm organized, but like with my time, I'm just like, oh, I gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do that. But now I focus, an hour on one thing versus 20 things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Cool.
Mhm.
Well, I have one hole that I want to poke in your daily actions. So your post on your social media accounts to gain more traction. Are you saying that you are going to post every day on social media, or are you wanting to post X amount of times a week on social media?
So I guess like post as in either on my story, main
Okay.
post,
So
on LinkedIn,
you want to be active
active.
on social media every day.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, perfect. Um, cool. So when last week when we were together, um everybody kind of started to think about what their goals were going to be of what they wanted to accomplish in these, next 6 months. And so for you, you are, just to confirm, you are looking at 2 retainer clients, 3 to 4 sessions each month, a photographer's course in the next 6 to 8 months. And so those are like some of your big goals that you'd like to see happen.
Yeah.
Perfect. So when we go through our to-dos, those are some of the things we're going to go over. I know Angelica said she was going to be a little bit late today, but Bethany, I know that you've been working on your avatar.
Mhm.
Mercedes, have you gotten into the avatar course yet?
I did all 29 avatar questions. But I think my struggle was like narrowing some of those down
Yeah.
because I think like my clients are such like a broad thing right now that I guess that was the hardest, but I did narrow down some sections.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So just to I want to dive back into the avatar. And so I think depending on who you are in your business and who you're serving, you may have you may have like 2 or 3 avatars that you serve, because the way
Okay.
you serve a restaurant is not necessarily how you're going to serve a stylist, or the way you
Mhm.
serve a like large corporate client is not how you're going to necessarily serve your bride. And you may,
Okay, that makes sense.
as you narrow things down, you may start to realize that, hey, I only want to work with these types of clients. I actually don't want to do bridal and events at all. I want to do
Mhm.
product and brand photography.
Mhm.
And so your avatars will evolve. And so I'd love to just open the floor to questions about the avatar course. Anything that you want to run by, discuss, and that goes for you, Bethany, and you as well,
Yeah.
Mercedes.
Yeah, I feel like mine is pretty narrow in the grand scheme of things. I feel like I'm going to reach people that are more like me
Uh-huh.
and, and a little bit outside of that, but, you know, they're, I'm not going to be reaching a lot of Gen Z single women
Yeah,
with my message.
right.
But I might be reaching, a woman in her 60s who's busy with her grandchildren, her really involved in her kids' lives and her grandkids' lives. I might reach her. Oh. But I think the people that I'm most going to connect with are people who identify with me.
So when we think about Miriam,
Mhm.
and we think about, because we're going to go into developing your offer and driving traffic and doing that research. So, and I know you asked the question about Google. So my question
Yeah.
is, did you dive into where, like, what TV shows Miriam is watching, where she shops, those sort of things?
Mhm. Like maybe where she shops, but not so much what she's watching.
Okay.
I didn't really think that through.
So when we go through those 29 avatar questions that are there, it's 26 or 29.
Yeah.
The reason why we do that is because we start to think about where she goes that she could potentially see your brand, or where content
Yeah.
being served to her that would align with you. And so if
Yeah.
she's watching um Christian Broadcast Network, just, because I'm thinking
Mhm.
even in her 60s, like, she's Christian, she's got grandchildren, there's some shows in there that she would watch. So
Mhm.
what is being advertised to her on the Christian Broadcast Network? And then
Yeah.
where does your message align in there? Because you may not advertise
Okay.
Christian Broadcast Network, but if it's a conference that's coming up, if it's a community that they are advertising, different things like that, that's a
Mhm.
backdoor way to get in front of your avatar,
Okay.
in front of Miriam. So I would encourage you
Okay.
I know it feels weird, and you may have to ask, like, on some of these things, put a story up on Instagram or ask on Facebook, like, hey friends, what are you watching right now?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to slow down just a little bit to ask some of those
Okay.
questions, because you may realize
Okay.
that there's some interest in things that you are surprised by.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, Mercedes, what about you? So I know you said you had a hard time kind of narrowing it down. When you answered those 29 questions, was there anything that came up that surprised you?
Come on, bud.
Oh, you're
Come
muted.
on.
We can't hear you.
Sorry.
You're fine.
I think one thing I noticed I was doing was going back and forth of like, should I be filling this out based on my current people I'm like selling to or the people I want to? So it's kind of like when I was answering questions of like the local communities that they would be a part of and like groups, things like that. Like my hope is eventually to take my business to like health and wellness and like faith-based businesses.
Yeah.
But currently I'm not like working with any of those. And so I also like incorporated like just service, very broad, like service based businesses.
So the avatar, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have something else you wanted to
Oh
add
no.
to that?
Oh no, that's okay.
Okay. So when you watch the video, I talk about my three avatars because I have three service lines. So I have my entrepreneurs, which is my business growth bootcamp line, right? And my coaching services. And then I call those people Selena. And then I have my Marthas, who are small business owners. They have a proven offer and they need somebody to handle like the tactical piece, manage my social media, run my ads, do things like that, take it off my plate. And then we have our Stephans who are in need of strategic marketing leadership, and those are more of my corporate clients.
Mm.
They are all their own lane, and I serve each of them differently, and I use completely different language with each of them. But how I got to those is I did over the past 2 years, I looked at which clients did I, number one, have the most success with. And number two, what did I enjoy about working with them? And number three, what did I do for them?
Mm.
Right. And then so you can start to kind of align who you want to work with versus who
Okay.
you are working with. And so those favorite clients, those clients that you work with and really fill your cup and be like, wow, this is what I want to do. You
Mhm.
know, all have clients that pay the bills, and then we have the clients we love.
Yeah.
And so I think businesses like that, you're always going to have clients that pay the bills. But your messaging, your avatar, you want to tweak that in a way that it doesn't,
Mhm.
because this avatar is going to go into your messaging and your driving traffic. I think our next module, if you go in order, pretty sure, I think it's messaging. And so what type of language do you want to use? What do you want to say that isn't going to, what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to attract your ideal client more, but it's not going to for lack of a better term, turn off other clients.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I think I was trying to like put it all into one type of person, or I had two avatars. It's Kate and Steven as
Okay.
like a married couple who are business owners. Like it was like
Yeah.
that was my avatar. So that completely makes sense and definitely helps me think a little bit more of like, okay, there can be three separate or two separate ones that I'm speaking to. That makes sense.
Yeah. And you may surprise yourself based on your experience that you actually, so like you may actually really like working with Stevens. I don't know what it is, but I do really well working with very like high D direct men. Like
Mhm.
I can bam, I'm creative, but I rein it in enough to be like, bam, 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 this is what we're doing. They're like, okay, cool, take it.
Yeah.
And so it's not what necessarily what you start your business out for, but you realize if there's some shared values there becomes some synergy in the most
Mhm.
unique places. Angelica, how are you?
Hi, ladies. Good evening. I'm good, thanks. Sorry I'm
What?
late.
You're okay. So what I told Bethany and Mercedes is I am under the weather today. I
Oh,
but I didn't want to cancel because I wanted to at least give you guys time for questions, and then I want to walk you through a chat GPT exercise. I did it with a one-on-one coaching client today, and I want to make sure that you guys understand it too, because it will help you as you start to develop content. Um, so one personal win, one professional win this week.
I need to prepare for that, right? So I'm
Easy,
so bad.
whatever comes to your head.
Okay. Personal win. I think here. But let me go to butterfly really quick because that one's coming to my
Yep.
mind. I don't know how many of you ladies. I know Laurel, you have an office space. I've seen yours. Um, Mercedes, I work from home. I think Bethany, you might as well. And so I've been like very like I've desired an office space so I can get out of my house for a while. But a private office space is not in my budget. But God knows our hearts. And I just say, Lord, in your timing, it'll all work out. And today I'm excited that I found a space, not a private space, but I am renting it's basically like a cubicle in an HQ office, which is like Regis. It's a gorgeous brand new office in Altamont, literally around the corner from me. And I was just like, God, you're so good. Because you knew my heart. He knows my budget. And it was perfect. Like the numbers worked out beautifully for me. And so I'm super excited about that because working from home, between all my cats that you see running around me and my kids, I'm interrupted all the time. And I need a dedicated workspace. Bless you, honey. Oh, um, I need dedicated workspace so I can focus and be productive because it's a constant interruption working from home.
Yeah.
And I've been working from home for a while. So I'm ready to like get into a space that is inspiring. And
Yeah.
it is just the people there, it's like I said, brand new. The manager and the receptionist are such lovely people. And I felt like I was home. So I'm excited about that. So yay for
love it.
Butterfly. And personally, the thing that comes to mind, honestly, my boyfriend who lives in Jacksonville has been in aviation school in Eglins Air Force Base
Yeah.
up at the Panhandle for the last 2 months. So we're finally get to reunite this weekend. So I'm super excited. Yay.
That's
So that's a
awesome.
win for me.
That is a total
Yeah,
win.
'cause I miss him. Yeah, I miss him. So I'm super excited. I'm over here being silly on my messages saying, hey, babe, 3 days countdown. I'm counting down the days being silly. And he's enjoying all that. So it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think some of the best relationships are the ones where that turn you into a kid the most.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's been a year and the distance being apart for 2 months, I think has enriched the relationship and it's just it's just exciting to see him again. That's all. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, my heart is celebrating with your heart. I love it.
Thank you.
So how has it been spending 2 hours a week on implementing the boot camp and working on the business?
So I consider, and if I'm wrong, let me know, but I consider the time that I'm taking to do the boot camp. I have my printouts, like ladies, I am writing notes all over the place. It's like this, I'm loving the boot camp. I'm taking my time, so I know I'm behind probably most of you. But I consider the time I'm spending on the boot camp as part of working on the business. And in addition to that, implementing some things like I was searching and looking for other meetups and networking groups. So that's working out where I can, my goal was 2 a week. The Chamber of Friday is usually the one I do, and then I needed to find another one. So I found some, and I'm most likely going to start visiting those, but working on that as well. So I'm excited about that. And another thing that I love to do, I love to read. And unfortunately, when life gets lifing and too busy,
Yeah.
I've kind of let that fall to the side. And so as part of working on the business, I have amazing books on business and other things. And they've just been sitting there. And so I'm reading, of course, here's one of them. So this will help. How I Built This by Guy Raz.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've just started it and it's phenomenal. Basically, it's this gentleman interviewing, all the entrepreneurs and the people who started up stuff and went through all those trials and ended up being these big organizations. So a fantastic book was recommended by a friend of mine, entrepreneur who's a tech entrepreneur.
Yeah.
She recommended that book to me.
Okay.
And then selling like Sirhan. I came across his show on Netflix, and he's a character, but he's a beast of a salesperson, and I'm in sales, so I'm reading his book. So that's me working on myself and my business.
I love it. I think I am most inspired when I'm reading. And so just as being creative, being a marketer, I've got Braving the Wilderness, right? I've got it's called Getting Past Your Breakup, but there's a really great section on how to write affirmations, and I'm researching for a podcast episode about positive self-talk.
Okay, love it.
And then I'm reading sci-fi fantasy, so I'm reading Dune. Well, it's not going to show you, but so I'm reading.
Dune. Is that the one that made it to the movie? Is that the one that made it to the movie? Oh yeah, that's fantastic. I saw one of them. I'm waiting to see the other. That's great.
Yeah. So I try to do that because sometimes your brain needs a break. And so tried to mix in fantasy with my reading just to kind of produce some creativity. I tell you what, I read Dune and go to sleep, and I'm like dreaming all of Dune. It's so funny.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
I
Oh,
need
by
to
the
get
way, when you
I
said
need to get back
the
into
book on
reading
breakup
too.
about the affirmations, I'm noticing something in your emails. I loved your emails, and I try to get to them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But the self-doubting and the all this, and then you conquer that. I'm loving. I feel like I'm getting to know you even more by reading what you're writing there. So that's pretty cool because, like, wow, I see you, and I think you're a rock star, but you struggle with the same insecurities I struggle with. So,
Yeah, it's been and so when I actually I told Mercedes this. So Mercedes and I have been working together for about a year now. And
nice.
she was there my very first day I went to record the course. Like she went, she got photos in the office and everything.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
and she made like a compilation video. And I told her, like, when I watch it, I cried
Oh,
because it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, look how far we've, like, girl, look how far you've come. Like,
oh
you
my
know, it was
gosh,
just
that's
that
awesome.
moment. And then it was that moment, like, I have been so mean to you,
Oh.
you know?
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I totally understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
And
We're
so,
our worst critics. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and we say things to ourselves that we would never say to anyone else. So next week,
Facts.
our
Mhm.
coaching, I will give you guys a snip, like a preview of what I'll talk about on the podcast. I will summarize what I'm reading. And next week, I would love for us all to practice writing some affirmations that we can say in our business. Um, it's because it's really important. I have a list of 10 that I kind of cycle through, depending on the season
Okay,
that I'm in. But
gotcha.
so Angelica, do you have any questions on anything that you've been walking through in the business, in the boot camp, I mean?
So I appreciate Marinette, Bethany, I was calling her by her last name, you and Dawn's feedback. I just posted the vision. I watched the video this weekend and I've been working on that. So yeah, I feel like I'm making progress with that.
Yeah.
But is it am I understanding correctly? And if I'm wrong, let me know. Like the vision, I get that it's like future forecasting what you want to attain. It's like setting a goal almost like or something to focus your eyes on so that you can stay on task to reach that goal, right? Is that kind of how we should be looking at visions?
So when I look at vision, so when you envision your life 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what does that look like? And so vision is about living a life by design. It has really nothing to do with your business, but as entrepreneurs, our vision for our lives often fuel our businesses and the missions in our business because we are impact focused. We do know that we are completely we only eat what we kill. That's a terrible way to put it, but when you own a business, it's on you. Um, a lot of us start businesses because we want freedom in decision making. That's a big deal for me. And
Right.
freedom in decision making that flows into every aspect of my life. I'm
Mhm.
one of those girls, don't try to tie me down. Like, don't like
Yeah.
my poor husband. I'm a little bit of a wild one. So I've got to have that freedom to move and that variety. And so, but
Right.
that not only flows in my business, but in my personal life. And so you want, there's going to be times when your business is going to feel like it's going to feel like something is not in alignment. And when you go back to your vision
Okay.
of what you want your life to look like, it's to check yourself. Like, have I gotten away from what I wanted to do?
Okay. So again, like whatever that vision, the vision becomes the final version, if you will.
Yeah.
I look at that and that is kind of like my guide as to what I should be doing, how I'm moving in life and business together.
Yes. Because if you make a decision in your business to take on
Mhm.
a client, And you know that client in the first 30 days while you scale, right? You bring on CPAC. We're going to speak it into existence. You bring on CPAC, and you know that you are probably going to need to work 60 hours a week for the next 4 weeks while you hire, you get designs, you do all of those things. But that means that for that 4 to 6 weeks, whatever that takes, that you are missing church on Sundays, that you are not getting the right type of sleep. Maybe you're skipping the gym. Maybe you're not going to your kids' games. Maybe it's going to flow into your personal life. And at that point, you have to make a decision like, am I willing to do this for a season, knowing that it will impact my vision in the short term, but really it'll impact my vision in the short term negatively, but it will impact my vision in the long term positively.
Okay. Mhm.
Does that make sense to you guys?
It does. So, like in that example you gave,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just kind of just putting this out there, it would kind of go against one of the reasons why I'm in business. I have like a lot of notes here, like you said about make a list of words and phrases that mean a lot to you and things like that. And like you, Laurel, I put freedom. Freedom is like top, freedom to move,
Right.
freedom to kind of be more in control of my destiny. I don't mean taking that away from the Lord's purpose and plans for my life, but
Right.
you know what I mean? Like when you work for somebody else, you know, you're on their clock. And
Exactly.
so freedom to what I put here, to decide like how I work, right, in the
Yeah.
business, which clients I want to accept, which ones I don't.
Yeah.
When you work for somebody else, you don't have that choice. And also that I hate to use the word balancing because I don't think there's a such thing, but being able to be present for my family when they need me, when I want to be, you know, that whatever that is. And so personal freedom,
Yep.
you know, financial freedom, these are things that come to mind. It's like, why am I doing this? Because it's not easy. It's easier for me to go get a job and go get that check and call it a day. This is a lot more work, but the
Yes.
freedom is why I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just having this conversation with someone down the hall from me. So the reality is freedom, right? Freedom, the freedom in decision making, integrity, all of these things are really important to you, but they don't just exist in your business. I'm pretty sure that's how you walk in life. We had dinner together. Like, and we
Right.
didn't just
Yes.
talk about business. I know integrity is
Right.
very important to you. And
Yes.
so how you operate is like our, so you look at destiny, you look at God, what God puts on your heart. And so if you're doing something that's going to impact your freedom short term, but you have more freedom long term, like your vision is going to guide that. And at some point in time, you'll realize
I
like,
see.
oh, wait,
Okay.
I said I wanted vision long term, but this feels, or I wanted freedom long term, but this feels draining. I feel I am not in line with what I said, how I said I wanted to live my life.
Now can that's so in that scenario, I think it's coming to me. So in that scenario, because it's tricky. Short term, it is not in alignment with the vision, but it'll help get to the long term vision. So I'm inclined to say this. I might be wrong, but I'm inclined to say, do not compromise what your vision is, your purpose is for the long term gain. Is that the right way to look at that?
Yeah,
Because like I don't, for example, I don't work 7 days a week. I honor 6 days. God gave us 6 days. I take one day of rest. So
yeah,
I'm not going to be working like a dog for any client. So yeah.
right. Yeah, and so you'll get to a point where there's a client that starts out with really great boundaries, but you realize they slowly close in and some things start to get compromised. And it may be a point where you have to make a decision as a business owner, like this client is no longer in line with how I want to
Mm.
operate. And so
I
when you
get,
take it
yeah,
out of
yeah.
the business and you take it out of the financial and you make it bigger than the business, it's easier to make that decision.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you for that. That totally made it come in like in focus for me. Thank you. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
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 Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Any other questions about what you guys are working on? Any questions in business that I can help with that's not even related? Have you come up with something that you've struggled with? Do you have a contract concern? Do you need anything?
Sorry,
No,
I'm still here. I'm just driving right now.
you're good, no worries.
Um, I did have a question, I guess. I don't know if like this would be a question for you, but maybe it aligns with like clients and having clients that maybe don't align with like your future and your goals.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that? Like, for example, I'm kind of
Question.
going through that right now. It's like Um, in the beginning, I priced it for exactly what they asked for, but now I've noticed over the past few months they're adding on more stuff. But like,
Mm.
I, I, I think I'm like in the beginning of my business where I'm like a yes man,
Yeah.
as in like I'm saying yes to everything so that I have a good reputation with them and maintain our a good like relationship. But now I'm thinking about raising my pricing to like in the new year, for example. And what would your, I guess, feedback or advice be to like approach that?
So two things. So prices are raising across the board. And it's very different when you're in business, like you and people don't show up to buy eggs and they're now $8 a carton, right? We have the opportunity to give our clients a little bit of grace. So, number one, if you're increasing your prices, I would give your clients a 30-day notice and say, hey, I have absolutely loved working you. As we all know, there is a rising cost of doing this business between taxes, supplies, all these types of things. As of January 1st, your rate will increase to XYZ. Um, if you have any questions or concerns about this, I'd love to hop on a call with you and give them an opportunity to talk to you about it. If there are and by the way, raising prices is a great way to get rid of clients that you don't want without having to tell them you don't want to work with them anymore. Just
That's
make it,
a, yeah, that's a good tip.
yeah.
Yeah,
So just say, hey, like that's I've invested in this, I've invested in that, and therefore my prices are increasing. If they want to work with you that much, they'll pay it, but at least you'll get a premium for dealing with the pain in the butt. Like simple.
yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you.
And the second piece, if you have a client that you're doing more work for consistently, then you need to have a conversation and you can approach it from a way that is really exciting. Um, I'll use myself as an example. Hey, Laurel, I absolutely have loved what we've done over these past few months, and I see it sparked a lot of great ideas that you want to work on. Right now, we currently have on a monthly basis that I am doing XYZ. And I know that you've brought up doing ABC from time to time, but it looks like it's something that you want to do more consistently. Would you like me to reprice a package so that we can work on these things every month with the rest of your deliverables? And
That's good. Yeah,
give them an
that's
opportunity to say yes or no.
that wording is, I think, what I kept trying to figure out, like how to go about doing, because that's kind of the thing is like it wasn't consistent in the beginning, but now it's like every month they request this extra thing that wasn't in our original contract. So yeah, no, I love that. I think that's great.
Yeah. And it shows them that you're excited, right? You're still excited to work with them. You love that they're coming up with new ideas. You guys are a great team. Let's make this a regular thing. Um, anyone else have business questions or anything that they're walking through? No? Okay. So, has anyone built a brain in ChatGPT before? No? Mercedes, have you built a brain?
I I've just started using ChatGPT recently, but when you say what you just said, it doesn't make sense to me, so I'm gonna say no.
Okay, all right,
I don't know what that
I
means,
kind
building
of
a brain. I
have.
don't know what that means.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna walk through something that I did with a client today, and she was like, wow, I'm blown away. Um, and I do this for every single new client that I work with. So this is a marketer's hack to learning your client's voice. So, okay. So you see here, I have different brains, and like a lot of you know, I work with House of Hope. So I have an established House of Hope brain that anytime I'm creating content for them, it's like I've built a copywriter that knows their brand and knows how to help me create content for them. And so today, what I did is I created a social media voice to create more content for the boot camp. And so when you go to create a new brain, you have an option here that allows you to attach a file. So when you are going to start creating content for your company, what you want to do is you want to take the most the things that you've written, whether they're social media posts, their emails, their letters, things that you look at and you're like, wow, this embodies me and who I am, and I feel really proud about sending this out. And Angelica, for you, it could just be client communications, like emails that you've gone back and forth with people on. Um, And so what I like to do, you can either copy and paste them into ChatGPT. What I like to do is I like to put them in a Google Drive because ChatGPT now connects to Google Drive and it's a much faster processing time. And so when we look, I'm going to go to, no, not here. Here we go. So these are all of my modules. These are my, yeah, these are my scripts, I believe, or these might be in my assignments. But these are all things that I've written from the boot camp. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something that I've written. So we're going to do the vision statement because Angelica, I know you're working on that. So I'm going to take that assignment that I made for the vision statement and I'm going to upload it into ChatGPT. I'm going to connect it. And then the first prompt that I am going to give it, because I need it to know my voice before I ask it to do anything. So please, you'll say, I need you to help me create some content for my business. But I first need you to understand my voice. Will you analyze this document for voice and tone? And I love ChatGPT because I misspell things all the time and Chatty still understands me. And so it's reviewing the voice. And so reflective and thoughtful, supportive and encouraging, instructive, conversational, warm, aspirational, optimistic, empowering, introspective, gentle, and reassuring. Which, when you look at a lot of the business growth bootcamp content, that's what it is. And so we say, great, right? Call this voice Laurel. So now I'm going to tell it from this point forward that this is my voice, right? And and this is what we're going to use. Okay. So next, it analyzed this so we can do two things. Because it's a bigger document, I want to ask it to pull concepts from the document. And you can even, like, Angelica, if you have something, best practices for tangible marketing products, trends that people are seeing on convention floors with products, different things like that. Mercedes, your course. Maybe you want to start developing some content for your course. But what I'm going to ask it to do next is analyze the document, and provide me with 10 ideas I can use on social media around the topic of creating a vision. Okay, so now it's going to pull ideas from my document that I wrote to break it down into more topics, right? Because we always want to be repurposing our content. And so now it's giving me different topics that I can talk on. And so now if you're needing to create content, you want to engage your customers. Mercedes, you want to keep your customers engaged and remind them of the importance of updating their brand content, having fresh things to share, the importance of leveraging video in your marketing strategy, those types of things. So now I'm going to be like, okay, vision and goals, right? I'm going to take this. So I'm going to ask it here. So I like that idea. Can you write me a script for a 60-second YouTube short talking about the topic below in Laurel's voice? And so then I share it. And then it gives me an optimized script of what I could say or what I should say. And so you
I'm
read,
floored. This is amazing. I didn't know that this was the thing.
yeah. And then what you can say is, so I'm going to take this and say, hey there, have you ever felt stuck between where you are and where you want to be? It might be time to check in on your vision and goals because they each play a unique role on your journey. Think of your vision as a big picture. It's the dream, the why behind everything you do. It's not about the how or when, it's about the direction you want your life or business to take. Now, your goals, they're the stepping stones that bring your vision to life. Goals are specific, measurable, and actionable, your to-do list for the path ahead. When you align your goals with your vision, you're not just crossing off tasks. You're making meaningful progress towards something greater. So, what's guiding your journey today? Your vision, your goals, or maybe both? Let me know in the comments. And if this sparks something for you, like and subscribe for more tips just like this. Like, that's me just reading it, but I'm saying that's pretty spot on,
Yeah, it sounds like you.
right?
I love that. I didn't know that you could put it, link it to Google. That blew my mind, honestly.
Yes. And
I
so,
didn't know you can do any of this. I had no, well, you say create, what was their initial brain? What is this that
yeah,
you're
you're going
creating
to create a
brains?
brain. Yep.
Now, can you do
And
this
can you
on the free version? Because I don't have the paid
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
Okay.
and can you say so you're saving these as like separate
So right
voices?
here, like I'm going to name this, right? I would name this, I'm going to business growth boot camp social content because I'm like burnt out on ideas. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I need some help, but I need to create some fresh content, right? So every time that I go back to create content around the business growth boot camp, I'm going to go back to this brain and it saves in the corner here.
I did not realize it's saved because I use it all the time for like one of my clients' content ideas because I do too. I get burnt out and run out of creative ideas.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you could like save that as a brain or like its own thing. That's really cool.
Yeah. And so so whether you're creating content for yourself, or you're creating content for a client, always use the same brain. And then, and what I can say this is, I can ask it, this is really good. I don't want to screw it up. But can you make it more comical? Like maybe it's a serious tone and you want it to be a more funny tone.
A little lighter. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, can you make it more comical? So, ever feel like life's a game of where the heck am I going? And your to-do list is just mocking you? Yeah, me too. But don't worry. That's where visions and goals come to the rescue. So it still sounds like me, but it's a little bit more funny. And then I could say something like, I would never, um, this is actually really good. I can't, I mean, I use ChatGPT all the time, so I'm like, this is bomb. I wouldn't change anything about it. I actually like this almost better, right? It's funnier. But this is how you use it. But if
It
you
is funny. It is
so,
quite funny.
right, if you your goals, they're like pit stops along the way. Stop for snacks, refuel the tank, maybe take a nap in a parking lot. Without those, your vision's just a daydream. And so a lot of my content, my short form content, this is how I create it. But
Wow.
um I have a bossed too hard brain. And so when I write an email today, let's see.
So Laura, when you I didn't like Mercedes, I didn't know when I asked ChatGPT for things, I didn't know that it would save it to the right. I didn't know none of this. So it's there though.
It's there. Yeah, as long as you're logging in and
Yeah.
you don't have to pay to log in. So as long as you're logging into the same email, it's going to do that. But for you,
Okay.
Angelica, it may be like, you know, write me a series of emails that talks to my clients about the, you know, what's on trend for convention this year. Or help me create a document around best practices when setting up your promotional booth. You know, things like that that will help your clients.
Okay.
But if
Mhm.
you start it with samples of your writing first and ask it to create your voice, that's where you get the content that sounds like you, and you're not trying to figure out, oh, why is it using emojis? And I would never reference I don't know. I guess I've gotten some weird stuff from ChatGPT. Like I would words that I would never use, and I'll tell it like I would never use this word, and they're like, okay, no problem. Like, so I know you guys
So
are.
the voice,
Go
the
ahead.
voice, does it again, I'm like Mercedes, I don't really know a lot here as far as like the when you say create the voice, is that like a brain?
So this whole thing is a brain, and you're training the brain to create your content. But
Oh, okay.
when you create the brain and you train it first on your voice and how you sound and how you speak by giving it examples of
Oh, okay,
of
okay.
how you write, how you speak, you get content that's a lot more spot on than
Okay.
if you just said, "Hey, write me a social post about this," because it
This
doesn't
is
know
com
who
Okay. So
you are and what you sound like.
this completely
okay, so
makes sense because I use the same email for like my client's voice and my own, so they start to like mesh together, and now I understand why. It's because they're literally saving under the same thing. So that's so interesting.
So what you want to do
okay.
is on the left side of your screen or on your chat thing, your chat GPT, you are going to have all of the ones that you've created. So you want to go in and you want to name your brain. And
Okay.
so Mercedes, you want to create a client brain for your client. You want to create a brain for your brand. And Angelica, you want to
Um,
create a brain And it's just for your brain, it's just going to be your business brain. It's just somebody that helps you consistently write your content and make sure it's on brand, even when you're not feeling the best.
Gotcha. But again, I create by sharing my normal like communication style. I'm creating the voice and
Yep.
say, save this as my voice, right? Or save this as Angelica's voice.
Yes.
And then the brain will start to sound like me.
Yes. Because if you look, I
Okay.
attached a piece of like when I wrote that, when I write something, so how I do it is most of the time I'm dictating into a note or my phone. Just
Okay.
what's on my brain, what's on my mind, what I want to say. And then from there, I take the transcription and I put it in a document and I clean it up.
Nice. Okay.
Sometimes, like I do strategies for clients like that. I will write the strategy, like I'll just talk it out what I want to do. And then I'll create a clean brain, or I have a marketing strategy brain that it trains on, like not necessarily my voice, but my flow of what needs to go where. So I have a template that it uses. Um, and I'll just copy and paste, like, hey, here's my ideas, clean it up and put it into the template, and it'll do it.
Nice.
And then
Okay.
it
Love it. Okay.
takes my service level to a next level, because if I have a consultation call with a client, I don't do them for all of them, but my corporate clients that are like the big ones, right? I will sit there, I'll review their stuff, I'll take notes, like just speaking it, and then I will put it in here and I'll clean it up and I'll make a very high level strategy and I'll send it to the client and I'll be like, hey, after we talk, I looked at your brand. This is what I think would work for you. You can have this and you can implement it yourself. Or if it's something you want help doing, let's schedule a call and talk about the proposal. But I want to
Okay.
make sure that what I'm thinking is even on scope for them, because a lot of these proposals, they take time to put together. And so I will take my voice and I will use it to create something a little bit more professional. But
Nice.
it all
Okay.
starts with giving it examples of how you talk. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a document. If you wanted to, Angelica,
Can I
you
copy
said
and paste emails?
yes.
Like so because
Yep.
I basically talk the same in most of my emails, but like just so that ChatGPT gets to know my voice through the how I communicate. Like you said, there's certain words that I use consistently, whatever. Okay.
And so you would just,
Oh,
so instead of, I need you to help me create some content for my business, but I first need you to understand my voice. Will you analyze the following emails for voice and tone, and then copy email one, paste, email two, paste, just so it knows that separate them so they're broken down, and then have it create your tone.
okay. Wow. Okay. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this was a thing.
I wanted
Yeah,
to take
wow.
some time to share this with you guys because Mercedes, I know you're creating content for other people. Angelica, I know anything that we can do to save you some time and save some brain power for those really important tasks, will benefit you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. I just started using ChatGPT. For example, I did my little ads on Canva
Yeah.
and I was kind of like stuck in my brain. It's like I know what I want to say, but it's not coming out. So I went into ChatGPT and it gave me this amazing like ideas to capture the audience with a phrase about, the holidays were coming. And I couldn't get it out, but ChatGPT spit it out like what I was thinking, but like, oh, I like it. But this is just a small sample. Like I'm so new to it, but I was so excited about that little thing, the little phrases it gave me for my little ad. And now this is like, wow, this is like yeah, wow. I don't
So
even know what to
as you build your
say.
brain, you can even say, hey, I need to create a flyer, or I need to create an ad that is promoting XYZ. Can you
Wow.
use,
Okay.
can you create an outline for me using language that would attract XYZ customer using my voice?
Wow. Okay, guys. Wow. Yeah.
And
I
so,
didn't, I mean, yeah,
but the
that's
goal
amazing. How long has this been going on in the business world?
always, it's, I'm bringing on I'm in the process of hopefully bringing on a tech company. Um, and they're really big in L&D right now is generative AI and how businesses can use it safely.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, so it's AI is kind of where it's at. And the whole thing is it's not taking over. You cannot like AI is making bad writers worse writers, but AI is making good writers, not necessarily better writers, but quicker writers,
Okay.
right? By being
Okay.
able to like give you someone to brainstorm with, get instant act, like get instant feedback. The biggest thing is when you use Chat GPT, use it like you would a person, like give it feedback. Say, if it writes something and then you put it in an email and you're like, actually I want to change the flow and I would do this differently, then you give it back to him, but like, hey, great job on this, but these were the tweaks I made and this is what I ended up sending. And then it'll actually analyze it. It'll be like, okay, cool, I see where you did this and that. I'll remember that for next time.
The biggest thing
Okay.
I think I love doing with ChatGPT is like sometimes I'll say the same type of thing and I can't think of a new way to say it. So I'll like put it in and say, can you say this another way? Or use different words to explain the same thing to like different clients. And that's always been like the most helpful thing that I've used it for, at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Email subject lines. I'm like, hey, I need, I like this subject line, but give it to me 10 more different ways.
Yeah.
And it will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good.
Wow.
So that is your coaching tidbit for tonight to make your lives easier. I will go ahead. This should process pretty quick. I'll get this posted in our group. And then Mercedes, when it's done processing, I'll go into the transcript and I will copy what I told you to tell your client and I'll email it to you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, ladies. Well, if there is nothing else, I'll give you 26 minutes back in your evening.
Thank you, Laurel, especially for you not feeling well and for showing up. You're awesome. Appreciate you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I hope you feel better.
Thank you guys. I'll see you soon.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.